The topic that has been assigned is cybersecurity optimization and the need for digital India, and how cybersecurity has become such an important paradigm today. Now, the last 1.5 years has affected each one of us. Every facet of human life has been affected by this pandemic. But even though the pandemic has caused a lot of disarray, we are seeing a huge digital transformation happening today. Now, the digital transformation is happening across so many sectors. Now, most of us are academicians, right? Most of us are academicians, and instead of moving from classroom to from building to building or classroom to classroom, our normal day today moves from Zoom to WebEx to Microsoft Teams to Google Meet. That is how our life has changed. We used to physically go for meetings, physically go for classes from W205 to seminar hall to department office to department cabin. Now it is Zoom to Teams to WebEx to Google Meet. That's how our life has changed. A digital transformation has affected all aspects of life. And if you say education, healthcare, these are sectors that have been completely transformed. I was reading somewhere in the first 8 years, in the last 8 years, there were 25 startups that became unicorns. Unicorn means $1 billion valuation. That I'm talking from 2012 to 2020. 8 years, there were 25 startups that became $1 billion companies or unicorns. In 2021, you will be surprised to note that in the first 8 months, from January to August, September, there are 25 new unicorns. 25 new companies that have become $1 billion valuation companies, and many of them are in either financial services, in educational technologies, smart healthcare. So some of the sectors have been completely impacted, and every sector is impacted. When you take logistics, when you take manufacturing, but some sectors like education have been completely impacted, and the government also is no exception. So we are coming to an age where digital transformation has become more and more rampant, and this is going to continue. Even when the pandemic ends, this is going to continue. Many IT companies are talking of not closing down their offices, having smaller offices and asking employees to come once in a week. This is what is going to happen. Big IT companies are talking 25% people can always work from home at any point of time. Even 3 years or 5 years from now, 25% people will be at home. Only 75% will come to office, and that also in a round robin fashion. So this digital transformation is very, very rampant, and we need to protect ourselves. When we say cyber security, we need to protect not only our information, we need to also protect our information systems. And it is very, very heartening to note that in the last 6 years, this digital India has actually transformed the country. A digital future for the country, such a massive initiative that has completely changed the country in so many words. Maybe we hear more about Make in India, but to be very honest, this great digital India initiative towards our honorable Prime Minister's vision of a $5 trillion economy and Atmanirbhar Bharat is an amazing thing. And let us see what are the cyber security protocols that have come. Now, if you take the digital India, of course, this has started in 2015. It is a more than 100,000 plus crore initiative, whereby we are having more of the digital infrastructure for the citizen, all services of the government moving on to the web, and services on demand, and the citizen is empowered. And not only that, the access channels have increased. You can join this meeting in Zoom from your mobile phone. You can join from your laptop. You can join from your desktop. You can join from your tablet. Same way, you can do banking. You can bank from your desktop computer. You can do banking from your laptop computer. You can do banking from your phone. You have a Bheem app or a UPI or a Google Pay. You can do this. So it has become so simple, so ubiquitous, so rampant. And because of this transition of all services to the internet, whether it is education, healthcare, we have to be more and more protective of our information and information systems. That is the role of cyber security. Now, if you see the pillars of Digital India, there are 9 major pillars. Many of these pillars are directly related to cyber security. Digital India is meant for empowerment of the citizens, Aam Aadmi, you and me. And because of that empowerment of the citizens and the empowerment of the Aam Aadmi, cyber security plays a very important role in many of the pillars of Digital India. Universal access to mobile connectivity. That is the second pillar. First pillar is broadband highways. Of course, that is more of a physical security. When you are laying optical fiber in the railway track or in the city or in the buildings, that is more of a physical security. But second pillar, universal access to mobile connectivity. Professor Subhash told about apps, harmful apps. Now today, mobile has become a major instrument. India is the largest mobile consumer in the whole planet. I think very conservative estimates are telling that there may be around 700 to 800 million mobile phones, and perhaps 600 million, at least half or maybe more, have access to mobile phones. More and more services are moving to mobile phones. Google Pay, GPay, Phone Pay, UPI, what is that? Bheem app. All these are mobile gateways, payment gateways. Your banking, you have an SBI account, a Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, any bank account, you can use your mobile phone. It's so simple, so easy. So, and universal access to mobile connectivity, the second pillar, is going to be very, very important. Third, public internet access program, citizen service centers. Mahatma Gandhi used to say India lives in the villages. 640,000 villages are there. Now there are common service centers inside near the Chowpal or in the village where the citizen is getting services. You want to apply for some land details. You want to pay your electricity bill, water bill, taxes, land tax, property tax. So many services are available, and you can go to the public internet location, the common service center, and do these things. Third pillar. Fourth pillar is also similar, e-governance, reforming government through technology. Using technology, less government, more governance. That is the vision of the Prime Minister. You have technology that is helping governance, helping things. And if you take the Aadhaar, Jan Dhan Yojana, DigiLocker, everything is available. Just 1 hour back, somebody had called me and told that, DigiLocker, many students who are in Europe, America are contacting for their transcript. Now everything is going to change. In the DigiLocker of the government of India, everything is there. Any company, any university abroad wants to do a verification, they just go to DigiLocker, download, end of the story. College doesn't have to bother, university doesn't have to bother, vice chancellor doesn't have to bother, student is happy, they are happy. E-governance. So more and more services. So 2, 3, 4, all these pillars are impacted by cyber security. 5, e-Kranti. E-Kranti or electronic delivery of services, a very, very important initiative. In many states, e-governance is very, very rampant. Many services are completely online. Many, Professor Nayak will agree with me, Computer Society had an e-governance awards which were going on for so many years. And we were seeing that the best IAS officers, the best state secretaries of IT were coming to Computer Society of India to promote their e-governance, these e-Kranti initiatives. In Karnataka state, I am aware that all the land documents are digitized. There is no writing, document, paying that, everything is online. All land document is completely digitized. Many states have moved on to that. In fact, many chief ministers are promoting. I don't know if many of the participants know, one of the first awards that our Honorable Prime Minister got was this E-Ratna Award of CSI when he was Gujarat Chief Minister, because he promoted a lot of information technology in government, and that is why the successful Gujarat model happened, because of a lot of technology being there. So this is the fifth pillar, again highly impacted by cyber security. 6, information for all. Everybody has got information. Information is available freely everywhere, whether it is the internet, whether it is the digital media, and you need to have protection of that information. You need to have confidentiality of that information, integrity of the information, accuracy of the information. And the other 3 pillars may not be so directly related, but then still it is impacting. That is electronics manufacturing, IT for jobs, and early harvest or mission mode projects. So we are seeing that cybersecurity is impacting directly or indirectly almost all the pillars of digital India. All the pillars have need appropriate cybersecurity initiatives. I will give you a couple of examples of Digital India initiatives. This symbol that each one of us has seen has completely changed the face of this country. Of course, we have to also give credit to the previous government also, who conceptualized this Aadhaar program, unique ID program. Every Indian citizen, a 12-digit unique ID, and we are now seeing a lot of public good. The other, we have to give full credit to the other government also. The government before this also started this government promoted it in a very, very big way. And we are seeing a lot of leakage reduced. And if you see the Aadhaar, there is so much of security. Imagine 1 billion people giving data, their iris information, their fingerprint, their personal details. You can imagine the size of the database. And you can imagine how, where all this Aadhaar is used everywhere and anywhere. But see the security features. Inside the Aadhaar itself, now almost 1 billion people are there, and direct benefit transfer, whether it is LPG, scholarship, ration, 1 billion people are now on Aadhaar. And you also see so many security features. There is a QR code, secure QR code, hologram, micro text, ghost image, issue date and print date. There is a Giloshi pattern and an embossed Aadhaar logo. This many security features are there in the card, in the Aadhaar card. I am saying only in the card. Now, if you go to the database, they are very clear. They do not want any leakage of information. So whatever data is being collected, there is no profiling. You are giving your biometric data, you are giving your date of birth, whatever the details, but the system is designed in such a way that nobody can use it for profiling and tracking. You cannot use it for profiling, but there is a scope for using the data if there is some threat to national security. I mean, if somebody is a suspected terrorist or something, then that's a different ball game. But otherwise, there is no profiling or tracking information. It is not giving any access, and the information is very secure. There are enough protection and privacy features, and the UIDAI information is not linked to any other database. See, the government is now talking of the National Intelligence Grid. There are 30 plus intelligence agencies in India. Intelligence Bureau, RAW, Revenue Intelligence, all these databases are going to be combined together, but the UIDAI database is separate. It will then, the Aadhaar number, the UIDAI number will only be used for authentication. The database will not be connected to the NAT grid. It is not permitted by law. So what I'm trying to say is that there is the DigiLocker. It's a wonderful service, like a personal electronic space for storing documents, all your certificates, all your important documents. If you are a student, the transcript, the educational certificate, the PAN card, the passport, everything can be safely kept. And what are the security features? Proper coding practices, 256-bit SSL encryption, mobile authentication, OTP, the data center where the data DigiLocker is kept is very, very secure. Nobody can play any mischief. Timed logout, user consent. Whenever you are using it, they are asking you for your consent. Okay, this university wants to check your certificate. Please give consent and security audit. So all these initiatives of Digital India come with their share of security features, and security is absolutely important moving forward. That is why I want to stress that this Digital India is a wonderful program. Maybe not got the publicity of a Make in India or so, but it is still a wonderful program. It is changing the life of the country. Jan Dhan Yojana, all of us know, JAM, Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar, mobile. The country is the largest financial inclusion initiative anywhere in the world. One click of a button, crores of people are getting money in the account. This is, of course, a number. The statistics are a little old, but what I'm trying to say is, in one button, crores of people get money in their bank. So imagine that connectivity has come, and this is probably ahead of many foreign countries. Many developed economies may not be having this kind of this kind of system. I am aware, if you take whatever you complain about the Indian democracy, Indian election, that exercise is the most massive exercise, and people come from other countries to study how we have done. It's a fact of life. And people say that American election system has copied some aspects of the Indian election system. And, you have to be proud to be an Indian. So where do you fit in? Now coming to, you are all citizens. We are all citizens partaking in Digital India, partaking in the e-governance system. How do you protect your information? How do you protect your information systems? Simple tips. Already Professor Yadav talked about some of them, but I'm just going to spend some time and on these simple things. This is ये rocket science नहीं है. ये आप और हम कर सकते हैं. ये जो cyber security actions है, आप और हम ये easily follow कर सकते हैं. This is very easy. Protecting passwords. I don't need to tell you how important this is. As Professor Yadav also told, have alphanumeric complex strings. You can have 3 or 4 passwords, modify them, change them, update them. Use many of us means majority of us, same password for everything, for all email account, for bank account, for multiple emails. All of us have a habit of using same password. Fine, use the same password, but try to modify them, slightly change it, so that even if you are hacked in one place, the other place is not, you are not hacked. And always use special characters, dollar, star, ampersand, so that your password is not breakable. But it can be your wife's name, no problem. But join it with special characters, change those special characters, make it alphanumeric strings. All those kind of things, you can do that. And ideally use different passwords for different sites. One option is all your bank accounts. If you have 2 or 3 bank accounts, use different numbers. One can be your son's date of birth, one can be, I mean, that's not a good thing, but have different numbers for different bank accounts, PIN cards and all. But it's not a good idea to, use the date of birth. People can hack that, but have different for different things, have different passwords for different application, and never store your password. Don't keep it in a text file in your computer. People can gain access, remote access to your computer and steal your passwords. Don't give social security number, any Aadhaar ID, PAN number, driver license, bank account, nothing. Nobody will ask you for this. If the bank is asking you, they will call you by the phone and tell, we want this information. Don't, all these emails, I am from Bank of Baroda, your account number is so and so. They may even steal your bank account number and ask you questions. Do not respond to any of these messages, because they only are for identity theft. They only want to cheat you. No bank account, no government body will ask by email. They'll call you or they'll come to your home and meet you and so on. If your bank manager knows your number, if there is something, he or she will call you. But these emails are all chakkar and all are wrong. Don't give any personal or confidential information. And always ask for updates from your bank accounts. Ask for quarterly statements or monthly statements. They'll come by email, they'll come to your app. Look at it and find out, track the payments, because there are people who may be trying to steal also. Beware of phishing attacks. Phishing attacks means free iPhone, free Apple iPhone 13 Pro. Click, you will get a free. No iPhone is going to come. Free trip to Barbados. Click, 5 clicks, you will get a free trip. All this is all cheating. They're all cheating you. Some people now even call, they'll email you, they'll make phone calls. Oh, I'll give you a free trip, I'll give you this. All that is just cheating. So just do not entertain any of them. If you get a call, say I'm busy, cut the phone. And be skeptical of messages that require immediate action. Oh, if you do not give this, you will lose this money. If you do not click, you will this much money will be deducted from your account. All these are all dangerous things. Then, and also attachments, exe files, zip files. Never open or download. When you download, when you download these exe files, you by mistake click them, it will bring some ransomware, it will bring some malware, and so on. Nobody will ask you for your password on the phone. Nobody. What is your password? Nobody will ask you. All this is, I'm from your bank. Nobody is going, no bank manager or bank teller will ask you. They will say, see, there is a security thing, you come to the bank. They won't say, oh, what is your password? Nobody is going to ask you. And don't give your credit card details or password by email, because email can also be hacked. So these are all simple, commonsensical things. Passwords, avoiding phishing, preventing identity theft, avoiding malware. Don't click on things. They may look very nice. You click on it, they'll be flashing. In your computer, they'll be blinking like this. You will feel, oh, nice, so attractive. You will fish, and then it will download ransomware or spyware or something like that, and you are in trouble. Always run antivirus software. Make it if you are running an enterprise, a company where there is some financial things going on, always use antivirus software. That money is an investment, because if you download a free version, after some time the updates will stop. And every day new worms and viruses are coming. So unless you have an antivirus software which has got the latest updates going on, being appended, you will not be safe. And this is an investment. So you're having food, no? Every day you budget this much money for milk and food. Same way your enterprise has to budget this money for the antivirus software. It is very, very important, because if you are an enterprise, you have to be safe. Always, when you have this paid this thing, you will install software and security updates all the time. We will updating, backup important files. I'm telling you, you will be surprised. Your laptop will crash, your iPad will crash, your desktop will crash. I had one situation many years back. Desktop crashed, laptop also crashed. because I'm using pen drives to copy between desktop and laptop, and the same malicious code affected the laptop and the desktop. Have things put on the cloud. In your university or your company, normally they will provide some area on the cloud. Most companies or universities provide that. You put all your important documents on that cloud. You put things on the DigiLocker. You put things, or there is nothing wrong. If you are a company, you buy some space in a data center, like an online server or storage, and put everything there. But then, I have to also be honest with you, that data center can also crash. No, that is a fact. But we cannot take we can't take risks. So have multiple backups, right? You can have multiple backups. You never know when your computer crashes. When your computer crashes, your laptop may also crash, your pad may also crash. So have multiple backups. And it's always good to keep things on some online media, maybe 1 or 2 online media. You have very sensitive data. You buy in 2 different data centers. One may crash, the other thing will be there. So this kind of things are important. Turn on firewalls. If you're running an enterprise computer, always have your firewall. Change the firewall policies accordingly. New attacks come, denial of service attacks, phishing attacks, spamming attacks, spoofing attacks. Always change the policies, update the policies in the firewall. Social engineering. Do not reply to stupid messages. I'm so and so. I will give you this. I will give you that. Free iPhone. Free trip to Barbados. All this is social engineering meant to cheat you. So be very clear. And of course, social media has advantages, has disadvantages. We cannot ignore these things. See, when you are looking at Facebook, Facebook means today Facebook has more than 1.5 billion users. YouTube has got Facebook has 2 billion users. YouTube has got 1.5 billion users. WhatsApp has got 1.3 billion users. You cannot ignore these things, right? You cannot ignore. They are very big. And you need the power of social media to promote things. Whatever you are doing. See, I have a YouTube channel. Many people are now calling me for seminars based on my YouTube channel, right? So they are having a lot of advantages, but then you should be able to be very careful with these, social media. You should know the goods and bads. Even now I remember one day, 4 a.m. I'm getting call after I'm sleeping. I got a call. My sister who lives in San Francisco is going on calling. Then I looked at the phone, 4 a.m. I asked her, why are you troubling me? I'm trying to sleep. And she said, you look into your Facebook page. Some nonsense is put on your Facebook page. I was shocked. I opened my computer early morning and checked that somebody had put some bad, dirty image. I didn't even know, because I didn't know about this Facebook settings. Then only I put, nobody can post things on my, even if somebody posts something on my Facebook wall, I have to approve it. If I have to be tagged by somebody, I should approve it. So there are settings even in social media that can help you prevent these kind of things. So, and of course, mobile. So that's what I'm trying to say. These are all very, very simple things that one can use. Mostly it is just common sense, but unfortunately, common sense is sometimes the most uncommon thing. Thank you very much. Thanks again to Professor A.K. Nayak for this opportunity. Thanks to the organizers. All the best. Thank you so much. So Nayak sir, you're not audible. Sir.